Interstate 35 I-35 is a major interstate highway in the central United States. As with most primary interstates that end in a 5, it is a major cross-country, north-south route. It stretches from Laredo, Texas, near the Mexican border to Duluth, Minnesota at Minnesota State Highway 61 MN 61, London Road, and 26th Avenue East. The highway splits into I-35E and I-35W in two separate places, the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex in Texas and at the Minnesota Twin Cities of Minneapolis-St. Paul. At 1,568 miles 2,523 kilometers, I-35 is the ninth longest interstate highway following I-94, and it is the third longest north-south interstate highway, following I-75 and I-95. Even though the route is generally considered to be a border-to-border highway, this highway does not directly connect to either international border. I-35 southern terminus is the traffic signal at Hidalgo Street in Laredo, Texas, just short of the Mexican border. Travelers going south can take one of two toll bridges across the Rio Grande and the border, either straight ahead into the Juarez-Lincoln International Bridge, or via Business Interstate 35A, bus. I-35A, through downtown Laredo into the gateway to the Americas International Bridge. To the north, I-35 terminates in Duluth, Minnesota, with connections to Canada from the interstate's terminus via MN 61 to Grand Portage, or north to the border at International Falls, Minnesota, via U.S. Route 53 US 53 in Duluth. In addition to the Dallas-Fort Worth and Minneapolis-St. Paul areas, the major cities that I-35 also connects to include, from south to north, San Antonio, Texas, Austin, Texas, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Wichita, Kansas, Kansas City, Missouri, and Des Moines, Iowa. Interstate 35 I-35 is a major interstate highway in the central United States. As with most primary interstates that end in a 5, it is a major cross-country, north-south route. It stretches from Laredo, Texas, near the Mexican border to Duluth, Minnesota at Minnesota State Highway 61 MN 61, London Road, and 26th Avenue East. The highway splits into I-35E and I-35W in two separate places, the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex in Texas and at the Minnesota Twin Cities of Minneapolis-St. Paul. At 1,568 miles 2,523 kilometers, I-35 is the ninth longest interstate highway following I-94, and it is the third longest north-south interstate highway, following I-75 and I-95. Even though the route is generally considered to be a border-to-border highway, this highway does not directly connect to either international border. I-35 southern terminus is the traffic signal at Hidalgo Street in Laredo, Texas, just short of the Mexican border. Travelers going south can take one of two toll bridges across the Rio Grande and the border, either straight ahead into the Juarez-Lincoln International Bridge, or via Business Interstate 35A, bus. I-35A, through downtown Laredo into the gateway to the Americas International Bridge. To the north, I-35 terminates in Duluth, Minnesota, with connections to Canada from the interstate's terminus via MN 61 to Grand Portage, or north to the border at International Falls, Minnesota, via U.S. Route 53 US 53 in Duluth. In addition to the Dallas-Fort Worth and Minneapolis-St. Paul areas, the major cities that I-35 also connects to include, from south to north, San Antonio, Texas, Austin, Texas, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Wichita, Kansas, Kansas City, Missouri, and Des Moines, Iowa. In Oklahoma, I-35 runs from the Red River at the Texas border to the Kansas state line near Bremen. It passes through or adjacent to many of the state's major cities. From south to north, these cities include Ardmore, Pauls Valley, Purcell, Norman, Moore, Oklahoma City, and Edmond. In downtown Oklahoma City, I-35 has a major junction with I-40 and spurs into I-235 through the north-central inner city as heavy traffic follows through the city into the northern area of the state. Between the Oklahoma state line and Emporia, I-35 is part of the Kansas Turnpike. This section of interstate serves Wichita and passes through the Flint Hills area. At Emporia, I-35 branches off on its own alignment. This free section of I-35 provides access to Ottawa before entering the Kansas City metropolitan area, where it serves Johnson County and Kansas City, Kansas. Of note on the route, at several points between Cassidy and Emporia in the Flint Hills, dirt driveways that provide direct access without a ramp for cattle trucks may be found in either direction along the highway. Beto Junction is a highway intersection in Coffee County, Kansas that is the intersection of US 75 and I-35. It derives its name from the four major cities nearest the intersection: Burlington, Emporia, Topeka, and Ottawa. It is located 16 miles 26 kilometers north of Burlington at exit 155. Historically, the intersection referred to as Beto Junction, before I-35 was constructed, was located on the old US 75 alignments 2 miles 3.2 kilometers south and 2 miles 3.2 kilometers east near Waverly, Kansas. I-35 enters Missouri 2 miles 3.2 kilometers southwest of Kansas City Central Business District as a 6-lane highway. After merging with Southwest Trafficway and Broadway, it becomes 8 lanes and continues north to downtown Kansas City, where it serves as the west and north legs of the downtown freeway loop. Along the north edge of the loop, I-35 joins with I-70 immediately west of Broadway and carries 6 lanes of traffic with a speed limit of 45 miles per hour, 72 kilometers per hour. Upon leaving the loop, I-29 begins, concurrent with I-35. The two interstates cross the Missouri River together on the Bond Bridge. After crossing the river, I-29 and I-35 split. I-35 heads north to Cameron, Missouri, and then continues northward to the Iowa state line. In the southern sections of the state, I-35 is parallel to US 69 for much of its course. In Des Moines, I-35 has a 12-mile 19 kilometers overlap with I-80. The concurrency takes place northwest of the downtown district of the city. At exit 127 of I-80, the overlap turns east and terminates at exit 137 via an interchange with I-235. North of Des Moines, I-35 is mainly parallel with US 69, traversing a vast and rural area of Iowa. I-35 is part of the Avenue of the Saints between Clear Lake and St. Paul, Minnesota. A 4-lane link has been completed between Clear Lake and I-380 in Waterloo, Iowa. At Medford, Minnesota, the on- and off-ramps lead to roundabouts rather than standard cross intersections. This is the first site in the state linked to a major highway to use roundabouts. I-35 splits again into I-35W and I-35E in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. The mile and exit numbering sequence continues along I-35E. At one sharp turn in I-35W near the junction with I-94, drivers are advised to slow to 35 miles per hour, 56 kilometers per hour, although many drivers are able to maintain the speed limit of 55 miles per hour, 89 kilometers per hour. It is not possible to go from westbound I-94 to northbound I-35W, from southbound I-35W to eastbound I-94, and vice versa, without resorting to service streets. On I-35E in Minnesota between MN5 and I-94 in both directions, trucks weighing more than 9,000 pounds, 4,100 kilograms, are banned from the freeway, and the speed limit drops to 45 miles per hour, 72 kilometers per hour. This section was not completed until the late 1980s, although the route was cleared and graded earlier, due to opposition from the historic Crocus Hill neighborhood, which sits only a few hundred feet from the alignment. The 4-lane alignment Parkway design was a compromise. The truck bypass for this section is signed on I-494 and I-694 to the east of St. Paul. I-35 has an interchange with I-535/US 53 in Duluth, Minnesota, known locally as the Can of Worms. This junction features a pair of left exits from I-35, a stoplight, and lane drops over the I-35 bridge. The national northern terminus of I-35 is at an intersection in eastern Duluth. Driver's options include merging with London Road/MN61 northbound, proceeding through the stoplights onto 26th Avenue East, or turning left onto London Road southbound. Some portions of I-35 in Oklahoma City were already built in 1953, before the interstate system was created. Through Norman, Oklahoma, the interstate opened in June 1959. In Moore, it opened in 2 parts. The northern half, connecting Moore to Oklahoma City, opened in January 1960. The southern half, linking it to Norman, was opened to traffic in June 1967. I-35 through Oklahoma largely parallels US 77. This is in large part due to efforts of the towns of Wynwood, Powley, and Wayne, which fought to keep I-35 as close as possible to US 77. This was successful due to a threat from Governor Henry Bellman to build a toll road, rather than I-35, and legislation preventing state funds for the interstate from being spent if it were more than 1 mile (1.6 kilometers) from the U.S. route. I-35 was completed in Oklahoma in 1971 when parts of the interstate running through Carter Co. and Murray Co. were opened to traffic. The final segment of I-35 as originally planned to open was in north-central Iowa, between Mason City and US 20, near Iowa Falls. This segment was delayed due to some controversy. Originally, I-35 was to follow the alignment of US 69 from Des Moines to the Minnesota border, but Mason City's business community lobbied for the route to be moved closer to their city. On September 1, 1965, the alignment was changed to instead parallel US 65 through northern Iowa, which brought the highway much closer to Mason City. This created a long diagonal section through Wright and Franklin counties. Local farmers objected to their farms being bisected into triangular pieces, and resulting litigation delayed I-35 for several years. A November 1972 ruling rejected a lawsuit filed by the farmers, and the final segment of I-35 was allowed to proceed, eventually opening in 1975. The Paseo Bridge over the Missouri River in Kansas City, Missouri, was replaced by the dual-span cable-stayed Christopher S. Bond Bridge in December 2010. The proposed Trans-Texas Corridor Toll Road project included one proposal, TTC 35, to primarily parallel I-35 from the Mexican border up to the Oklahoma border. There are major disagreements as to what impact this parallel route would have on I-35 in terms of traffic, maintenance, and commerce. The Trans-Texas Corridor was first proposed by Texas Governor Rick Perry in 2002. It consisted of a 1,200-foot, 370 meters, wide highway that also carried utilities such as electricity, petroleum, and water, as well as railway track and fiber optic cables. In July 2007, U.S. Representative Duncan Hunter successfully offered an amendment to House Resolution 3074. The FY 2008 Transportation Appropriations Act, prohibiting the use of federal funds for Department of Transportation participation in the activities of the Security and Prosperity Partnership of North America, SPP. Hunter stated that, unfortunately, very little is known about the NAFTA superhighway. This amendment will provide Congress the opportunity to exercise oversight of the highway, which remains a subject of question and uncertainty, and ensure that our safety and security will not be compromised in order to promote the business interests of our neighbors. Fellow Republican Congressman and presidential candidate Ron Paul brought the issue to mainstream prominence during the December 2007 CNN YouTube GOP debate, where he rejected the concept and also called it the NAFTA superhighway after the North American Free Trade Agreement and, like Hunter, framed it within the ultimate goal of creating a North American Union. In 2011, the Texas legislature formally repealed its authority for the establishment and operation of the Trans-Texas Corridor with the passage of HB 1201. Interstate 35 in Iowa. Interstate 35 I-35 is a north-south interstate highway in the United States that runs from Laredo, Texas, to Duluth, Minnesota. In Iowa, the highway runs from south to north through the center of the state, roughly parallel to U.S. Highway 69, US 69, and US 65. It enters the state near Lamoni from Missouri and continues north through the southern Iowa Drift Plain. In the Des Moines area, I-35 runs concurrently with I-80, and the two highways bypass Des Moines to the west and north. I-235, the only auxiliary route of I-35, serves the suburbs and downtown Des Moines. It begins and ends at the two interchanges, where I-35 and I-80 meet, near Mason City and Clear Lake. US 18 and Iowa Highway 27 Iowa 27 overlap with I-35. Shortly after, US 18 splits off to the west in Clear Lake, while Iowa 27 runs with I-35 until they reach the Minnesota state line. Construction of I-35 in Iowa took place over 17 years. The first 10-mile-long 16 section of the route that stretched from Cumming to Urbandale was opened on September 21, 1958. In the next 14 years, new sections of the route opened regularly, only leaving the section between Mason City and US 20 uncompleted. On November 14, 1975, the last 50-mile-long 80 section of the route was completed and connected the two non-contiguous sections of I-35. I-35 enters Iowa at the Missouri state line near the town of Lamoni. An interchange that provides access to the adjacent US 69 and East 100th Street is situated over the state border. The highway travels to the north-northeast for 4 miles 6.4 kilometers until it again meets US 69 on the eastern edge of Lamoni. North of Lamoni is a rest area, which overlooks the Grand River and provides pedestrian access to Decatur County Slip Bluff County Park. North of the Grand River, the interstate straightens to a north-south alignment. Near Decatur City, it intersects Iowa 2 at a diamond interchange. Continuing north, the interstate slightly eases to the east. Two rural interchanges for County Road J20, CRJ20, and CRH45/Elk Street, and another in Van Wert 4, CRJ14/East Line Street. The 21 miles 34 kilometers, separating Decatur City and Osceola. The Osceola area is served by 3 interchanges for I-35. The first is a partial cloverleaf interchange with US 34. This junction is so configured because of US 34's proximity to the BNSF railway line, which carries Amtrak's California Zephyr. The next exit for CRH 33/Kansas Street serves a casino and western Osceola. Northwest of Osceola is the western end of Iowa 152, which connects I-35 and US 69 at a narrow point between the two routes. Further north, the small towns of New Virginia, Truro, and St. Charles are each served by an interchange. The Iowa 92 exit, just east of Bevington, connects I-35 to the larger communities of Winterset and Indianola, to the west and east, respectively. The interchange for Cumming is the last before the interstate enters the Des Moines metropolitan area. I-35 continues north, enters the Des Moines metropolitan area, and meets the Iowa 5 freeway in West Des Moines at exit 68. Further on in West Des Moines, at the West Mixmaster interchange, I-35 meets I-80 and I-235. I-235 serves downtown Des Moines, while I-35 and I-80 overlap and serve the Des Moines' western and northern suburbs using I-80's exit numbering. On the Clive-Urbandale city border, I-35 and I-80 meet US 6/Hickman Road. Further north in Urbandale, they meet Iowa 141/Northwest Urbandale Drive southeast Grimes Boulevard and turn eastward. They also meet US 69/Northeast 14th Street north of Des Moines. Between Des Moines and Ankeny, at the East Mixmaster interchange, I-35 and I-80 separate at an interchange where they also meet I-235. I-35 then turns north to go through Ankeny. It continues north and at Ames meets US 30. Ames is also served by the Interstate 35 business loop, I-35BL. I-35 continues north and meets Iowa 175 near Ellsworth and meets the US 20 freeway near the community of Williams. It continues north until the Wright County line, where it turns northeast. On this northeasterly alignment, I-35 meets Iowa 3. Shortly after meeting Iowa 3, I-35 turns north again and meets both US 18 and Iowa 27, near Clear Lake at exit 190. I-35 overlaps US 18 and Iowa 27 through the Clear Lake area, which is also served with I-35BL. US 18 separates in Clear Lake at exit 194, and I-35 and Iowa 27, which serves as the designation in Iowa for the Avenue of the Saints, overlap for the rest of the way to the Minnesota border, meeting Iowa 9 near Hanlon Town at exit 203. The Iowa Department of Transportation, Iowa DOT, operates 37 rest areas and 1 scenic overlook in 20 locations along its 780 miles 1,260 kilometers of interstate highway. Along I-35, there are 5 locations that have facilities accessible to each direction of traffic. A 6th is under construction in northern Polk County. Parking areas are divided so passenger automobile are separated from large trucks. Common among all of the rest stops are separate men's and women's restrooms, payphones with TDD capabilities, weather reporting kiosks, vending machines, and free wireless internet. Many stations have family restrooms and dump stations for recreational vehicles. The first rest areas along Iowa's interstates were built in the 1960s. They were modest facilities, separate buildings housed the restrooms and vending machines. A few rest stops had another building with local tourist information. The newer facilities feature 1 large building housing as many as 28 more toilets than the older buildings, in addition to all the other common rest area amenities. They also feature artwork by local Iowa artists. Each new rest area is designed around a theme. For instance, the facility near Story City celebrates the history of transportation in the state. Story County is the home of Iowa DOT and the location where the historic Lincoln Highway and I-35 intersect. The first section of I-35, a 10-mile-long 16 kilometers stretch from Cumming to Urbandale, opened around September 21, 1958. Within 5 years, the interstate had grown to 55 miles 89 kilometers, extending from US 34 in Osceola to the eastern interchange with I-80 and I-235. The next two sections of I-35 were the 25 miles 40 kilometers from Ankeny to US 30 near Ames and the 30 miles 48 kilometers from Ames to US 20 near Williams. By 1972, I-35 was completed at the Missouri and Minnesota state lines. In southern Iowa, the last section, from Iowa 2 near Decatur City to the state line, was completed on December 2, 1970. In northern Iowa, the section from Iowa 9 near Hanlantown to the state line opened on December 12, 1972. The last section of I-35 to open, from US 20 to Mason City, opened on November 14, 1975. We will be passing by Des Moines, Iowa. West Des Moines is a city in Polk, Dallas, Warren, and Madison counties in the U.S. state of Iowa. A majority of the city is located in Polk County, a minority of the city is located in Dallas County, and small portions extend into Warren and Madison counties. As of the 2020 census, the city population was 68,723. West Des Moines is the second largest city in the Des Moines metropolitan area and the sixth largest city in Iowa. The West Des Moines area used to be home to the Sac and Fox tribes. Near the stroke of midnight on October 11, 1845, a gunshot was fired by a cattle farmer, James Cunningham Jordan 1813 to 1893, to declare that the area was open for Anglo-European settlement. His residence, the Jordan House, has been restored and is now home to the West Des Moines Historical Society. The Jordan House was a stop on the Underground Railroad, and abolitionist John Brown stayed on Jordan property multiple times, at least once while escorting a group of freedom-seeking slaves to Canada. In West Des Moines' early years, the town was a trading and shipping junction. West Des Moines incorporated as the city of Valley Junction on October 9, 1893. In its early days, Valley Junction was home to the Chicago, Rock Island and Pacific Railroad switching facilities and repair shops due to its location at the junction of several railroad lines. The Rock Island's facilities moved out of Valley Junction and back into Des Moines in 1936. The speed limit of 10 miles 16 kilometers an hour had existed for all automobile Valley Junction since 1911. However, 1915 an Englishman named Jack Prince built a 1-mile 1.6 kilometers oval racetrack designed to let race cars break that speed limit 10 times over. The wooden track was made of 980,000 feet 300,000 meters of 2 times 4s laid on edge. It was one of 24 such tracks nationwide, it have seating for over 10,000 people. On August 7, 1915, the eyes of the auto world were on Valley Junction in anticipation of the fastest 300-mile, 480 kilometers, auto race in history. Ralph De Palma, winner of the Indianapolis 500 that year, was one of at least a dozen drivers vying for the $10,000 purse. Before a crowd of 7,000 people, a tire blew, lunging Joe Cooper's car over the rail. Cooper was killed and his mechanic was injured. Later, while rounding a curb, a wheel of Billy Chandler's Duesenberg failed, cartwheeling the car into the infield and fatally injuring his mechanic, Maurice Keeler. Chandler was seriously injured. Smiling Ralph Mulford won the race with De Palma a close second. This baptism by blood left a bad taste in the mouth of the locals, and the track was closed 2 years later. The wood was salvaged and then used to construct buildings in Valley Junction. The serious dilemma of school overcrowding was partially addressed in 1916. The bond issue to build a new high school for $50,000 was approved by a 2-to-1 vote. The similar new grade school issue was defeated soundly. Building commenced, and by September of the following year, the doors of the new Valley High School were opened at 8th and Hillside. As a part of the school board policy, only first-class college-educated teachers were hired. By 1919, the rooms of the new high school were filled. A new junior high school was proposed, approved, and completed by the fall of 1923. The new school was the only bright spot in the otherwise uncertain, dreary years of 1922 and 1923. The foundations of the city were shaken by a 22-month machinist strike at the Rock Island shops. Starting July 1, 1922, 600 workers were idled. The railroad company reacted by bringing replacement workers into town to break the strike. The replacements were mostly Mexican and African American laborers brought up from Oklahoma by R.C. Hyde, the master mechanic at the shops. For their own protection, they lived in boxcars and tiny houses in an area south of Railroad Avenue and west of the main rail yards. The area was dubbed Hyde Park by the strikers. The resulting hardships suffered by the idled workers led the most desperate to choose between breaking the strike or letting their family starve. It was a time which pitted neighbor against neighbor, tearing at the fabric of the community. 2 men shot themselves in desperation before the strike ended. Valley Junction officially became a dry town in 1915. The Des Moines Golf and Country Club left Des Moines in 1923 and moved to White Pole Road Auto Trail. By the late 1920s, workers of Valley Junction were suffering from the Depression because the railroads were abandoning track there, completed in 1936, and the Keystone Coal Factory closed due to flooding in the tunnels. By 1937, only 2 trains stopped daily. The sagging business climate needed a boost. Members of the commercial club believed the only way to attract new industries would be to change the name of the city. They thought the name Valley Junction conveyed the image of an old-fashioned and backward town to prospective employers and residents. The name of West Des Moines would give it the respectability and prestige the town desperately needed. There was a precedent by way of an editorial in the Valley Junction Express in 1905 that suggested dropping Junction from the name, but nothing came of it. The opposition feared the change to West Des Moines would cause property owners to be taxed the same as Des Moines. It was also declared as a step toward annexation by Des Moines. A third and final election was held on December 7, 1937. On January 1, 1938, the name Valley Junction was relegated to the past, and the new city of West Des Moines took the first steps to a new identity. Helping to establish this new identity, the most identifiable trait was the suspension of all property taxes between 1936 and 1938. This was due to the profits of the water department. Today, the original business district of West Des Moines has been preserved as historic Valley Junction. It features many locally owned specialty shops and restaurants as well as a weekly farmers market. Though the name was changed, the community's commitment to education was bolstered by funds from the Public Works Administration. Despite the Depression, a new elementary school and the old Valley Football Stadium were built and dedicated on May 24, 1939, at 8th and Hillside. The venerable Lincoln School was raised in 1938 to make way for the new building. Longfellow was retired in 1939 and then sold in 1940 for $1,000. In 1955, West Des Moines Elementary School at Walnut and 6 was renamed Nellie Phoenix Elementary in honor of the former principal. The late 1930s were very good years in the school's athletic teams, producing memorable names: True, Gavin, Swink, and Sherbo. Charles Swink was a multi-record holder in track and field. His record at the Drake Relays stood for 20 years. An overgrown concrete eyesore on Ashworth Road soon became the musical mecca for the surrounding area on June 6, 1939, when Tom Archer opened the Val Air Ballroom. The site was originally the location of the stillborn Wilson Rubber Company factory. Intended to bolster World War I tire production, the end of the war in 1918 left only a large concrete slab. Patrons of the Val Air could dance under a canopy of stars to the melodious sounds of Guy Lombardo, Benny Goodman, Glenn Miller, and other big bands. The war years brought new vitality to the community without a cost. Then and now, flooding frequently dampens, but has not broken the residents' spirits. Unpredictable waters of the Raccoon River and Walnut Creek have often exceeded their banks due to large amounts of rain in the summer and snowmelt in the spring, filling the streets and damaging homes and businesses. In 1950, West Des Moines had a population of 5,615, but the city grew as many new housing subdivisions were built. West Des Moines annexed the neighboring community of Clover Hills in 1950, the town of Oshawa, a former Rock Island Railroad stop, in 1957, and the town of Commerce, along the Raccoon River, in 1960. City government also grew, and when the venerable City Hall could not keep up with the city's expansion, the city opened a new municipal building in 1954. With the influx of students, the school district's ever-expanding borders continually compromised classroom capacity. Children attended school in former homes near Phoenix, with classes in hallways and living rooms. Space was even rented from the new Catholic grade school. In 1959 alone, 150 to 200 new homes were built, adding to the population's growth. The construction of Interstate 35, Interstate 80, and Interstate 235 in the 1960s brought more people and businesses to West Des Moines. This construction also caused the Des Moines Golf and Country Club to sell its location along Ashworth Road and 8th Street and then move to its current location in Dallas County 5 in 1966. Dowling Catholic High School / Joseph Educational Center purchased 55-acre, 22 hectares, from the Des Moines Golf and Country Club and subsequently moved from Des Moines and opened at its current location, 1400 Buffalo Road, in the fall of 1972. Several retail and office complexes opened along the I-35 corridor after the freeway's completion, including Valley West Mall, which opened in 1975. West Des Moines population jumped from 11,964 in 1960 to 31,702 in 1990. West Des Moines expanded into Dallas County during the 1990s and 2000s. Once again placing the premier golf courses of the Des Moines Golf and Country Club in its city limits and punctuated by the opening of one of the best golf courses in Iowa at the Glen Oaks Country Club, along with the West Glen Town Center and the largest in the state of Iowa, Jordan Creek Town Center and Shopping Mall in 2004. Major commercial construction is underway around the area, including the opening of many additional hotels, shopping centers, and office buildings, including a new Wells Fargo corporate campus. In 2007, construction started on the village of Ponderosa, an urban-inspired and pedestrian-friendly community. In 2005, West Des Moines annexed land in Warren County for the first time, seeing the land to the south of Des Moines as extremely valuable, especially with the completion of a major South Belt freeway system. The cities of Norwalk and West Des Moines are actively competing for land in the northern part of Warren County. From 1990 to 2015, West Des Moines is the fastest-growing city in Iowa according to the landmass. During the 1990s, a new city school campus opened near the intersection of South 35th Street and Mills Civic Parkway. West Des Moines new police station opened in April 1992. This was followed by the opening of a new public library in 1996. The library served as a temporary home for West Des Moines City Hall until a new building was dedicated in late 2002. The campus also features a new stadium for Valley High School that also opened in 2002. On the same property, the West Des Moines School District operates Valley Southwoods, a freshman high school with over 600 students that opened in 1996. Turning the West Des Moines Community Schools into a two-high school district was not acceptable. In 2004, August Hillside Elementary opened, on the former site of Hillside Junior High and Old Valley Stadium, which was demolished in 2001. In 2012, Clegg Park Elementary was renovated and opened as the new Walnut Creek campus, which is the district's alternative high school. Major renovation and additions were completed at Valley High in 2007 and again in 2015. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city has an area of 39.48 square miles, 102.25 kilometers 2, of which 38.59 square miles, 99.95 kilometers 2, is land and 0.89 square miles, 2.31 kilometers 2, is water. West Des Moines location in the Raccoon River Valley has left parts of the city, particularly the Valley Junction area, prone to flooding. After the Great Flood of 1993, a floodwall was constructed along Walnut Creek, near the boundary with Des Moines, to protect that area. While nearby Clive, Urbandale, and Windsor Heights use the same street numbers for north-south streets that Des Moines uses, West Des Moines uses its own street numbering system. Thus, 86th Street in Clive and Urbandale becomes 22nd Street in West Des Moines. Iowa Highway 28, which forms most of the boundary between Des Moines and West Des Moines, is 63rd Street in Des Moines but 1st Street in West Des Moines. Many of the east-west streets share the same name, with Des Moines, although the numbering of these east-west streets starts over, in West Des Moines. The median income for a household in the city was $54,139, and the median income for a family was $70,600 in a 2008 estimate. These figures had risen to $61,256 and $83,800 respectively in 2008 inflation-adjusted dollars. Males had a median income of $45,185 versus $31,555 for females. The per capita income for the city was $31,405. 2.8% of families and 4.5% of the population were below the poverty line, including 4.3% of those under the age of 18 and 3.0% of those 65 and older. As of the census of 2020, there were 68,723 people residing in the city, an increase of 21.4% from 2010. The population density was 1,455 inhabitants per square mile. The racial makeup of the city was 80.2% non-Hispanic white, 3.9% African American, 0.1% Native American, 6.3% Asian, 0.1% from other races, and 5.4% from two or more races. Hispanic or Latino residents of any race were 4.9% of the population. There were 29,311 households, with an average household size of 2.19. 6.6% of residents were under the age of 5, 22.1% of residents were under the age of 18, and 13.9% were 65 years of age or older. The gender makeup of the city was 50.3% male and 49.7% female. The per capita income was $49,286, and median household income was $76,564. 96.6% of residents aged 25 and older were high school graduates, and 53.7% had a bachelor's degree or higher. HEFI, FBL Financial Group, Gideon Insurance, American Equity, Salmons Financial Group, ITA Group, Windsor Windows and Doors, and the Iowa Foundation for Medical Care are headquartered in West Des Moines. Other large employers include ADP, Goodrich and Wells Fargo's card services and home mortgage divisions. Wells Fargo recently completed its corporate campus south of Jordan Creek Town Center that is the home of their home mortgage and consumer finance divisions. West Des Moines uses the mayor-council form of government, with a city manager appointed by the city council. The council consists of the mayor, 2 at-large members, and 3 members from each of the city's 3 wards. The mayor and all council members serve 4-year terms. Rick Messerschmidt served as the interim mayor of the city following former Mayor Eugene Meyer's resignation in January 2007. On April 17, Steve Gare was elected mayor during a special election and held that position until Russ Trimble was elected mayor in November 2021. Tom Haddon is the city manager of West Des Moines. The West Des Moines Community School District has 9 elementary schools, 2 junior high schools, and 1 high school, Valley, with a second high school for freshmen only, Valley Southwoods, and an alternative high school, Walnut Creek campus. Parts of Clive, Urbandale, and Windsor Heights are also in the West Des Moines School District. The Dallas County portion of West Des Moines is part of the Waukee Community School District. 3 of that district's 10 elementary schools are in West Des Moines. Private schools in West Des Moines include Dowling Catholic High School and Iowa Christian Academy from 1999 till its closing in 2019. Valley High School moved to its present location in 1967. Before that, it was in a 3-story brick building at 8th and Hillside. It was built in 1917 and torn down in 1979. Notable people: Cindy Axne, Congresswoman Mad Bullard, basketball player Corwin Klatt, football player Jared Klaus, football player Lang Chow, head coach of U.S. women's gymnastic team at the 2008 Summer Olympics Gabby Douglas, gymnast and 2012 Olympic gold medalist Jerry Groom, football player Petter Hedges, novelist, screenwriter, director Dan Jennings, baseball player Sean Johnson, gymnast and 2008 Olympic gold medalist Carlos Kirby, bobsledder Mike McCoy, amateur golfer Masson Mitchell, racing driver Carl Pohlad, billionaire businessman, owned Minnesota Twins. Scott Pose, baseball player Brent Ross, TV/film producer Deason Smith, football player. Des Moines is the capital and the most populous city in the U.S. state of Iowa. It is also the county seat of Polk County. A small part of the city extends into Warren County. It was incorporated on September 22, 1851, as Fort Des Moines, which was shortened to Des Moines in 1857. It is located on, and named after, the Des Moines River, which likely was adapted from the early French name, Rivière des Moines, meaning River of the Monks. The city's population was 214,133 as of the 2020 census. The 6-county metropolitan area is ranked 83rd in terms of population in the United States with 699,292 residents, according to the 2019 estimate by the United States Census Bureau. and is the largest metropolitan area fully located within the state. Des Moines is a major center of the U.S. insurance industry and has a sizable financial services and publishing business base. The city was credited as the #1 spot for U.S. insurance companies in a Business Wire article and named the third largest insurance capital of the world. The city is the headquarters for the principal financial group, Rowan Transportation, TMC Transportation, EMC Insurance Companies, and Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Other major corporations such as Wells Fargo, Cognizant, Voya Financial, Nationwide Mutual Insurance Companies Limited, Marsh, Monsanto, and Corteva have large operations in or near the metropolitan area. In recent years, Microsoft, Hewlett-Packard, and Facebook have built data processing and logistical facilities in the Des Moines area. Des Moines is an important city in U.S. presidential politics. As the state's capital, it is the site of the first caucuses of the presidential primary cycle. Many presidential candidates set up campaign headquarters in Des Moines. A 2007 article in the New York Times said, "If you have any desire to witness presidential candidates in the most close-up and intimate of settings, there is arguably no better place to go than Des Moines." Des Moines takes its name from Fort Des Moines 1843-46, which was named for the Des Moines River. This was adopted from the name given by French colonists. Des Moines translates literally to either from the monks or of the monks. The historian Virgil Vogel claimed that the name was derived from Moyana, an Algonquian clan name, which means loon. Some historians and researchers, lacking linguistic or Algonquianist training, concluded that Moyana meant people by the portage or something similar, a reference to the Des Moines Rapids. This was where the earliest known encounters between the Moyana and European explorers took place. One popular interpretation of Des Moines ignores Vogel's research and concludes that it refers to a group of French Trappist monks who in the 17th century lived in huts built on top of what is now known as the ancient Monk's Mound at Cahokia, the major center of Mississippian culture, which developed in what is present-day Illinois, east of the Mississippi River and the city of St. Louis. This was some 200 miles (320 kilometers) from the Des Moines River. In 2015, Michael McCafferty of Indiana University, while studying the Miami, Illinois language, concluded that the name was actually a derisive term coined by the Peoria tribe. McCafferty agrees with other linguists that the Moine in Des Moines is a French derivation of Moing-Oana. What he discovered, however, was that it was not the actual name of the neighboring tribe, it was an insulting nickname they hurled at their rivals. It translates, essentially, as the feces faces. Based on archaeological evidence, the junction of the Des Moines and Raccoon Rivers has attracted humans for at least 7,000 years. Several prehistoric occupation areas have been identified by archaeologists in downtown Des Moines. Discovered in December 2010, the palace is an expansive, 7,000-year-old site found during excavations prior to construction of the new wastewater treatment plant in southeastern Des Moines. It contains well-preserved house deposits and numerous graves. More than 6,000 artifacts were found at this site. State of Iowa archaeologist John Duerschik was assisted by University of Iowa archaeologists at this dig. At least 3 late prehistoric villages, dating from about 1300 to 1700, stood in or near what developed later as downtown Des Moines. In addition, 15 to 18 prehistoric American Indian mounds were observed in this area by early settlers. All have been destroyed during development of the city. Des Moines traces its origins to May 1843, when Captain James Allen supervised the construction of a fort on the site where the Des Moines and Raccoon Rivers merge. Allen wanted to use the name Fort Raccoon, however, the U.S. War Department preferred Fort Des Moines. The fort was built to control the Sauk and Meskwaki tribes, whom the government had moved to the area from their traditional lands in eastern Iowa. The fort was abandoned in 1846 after the Sauk and Meskwaki were removed from the state and shifted to the Indian Territory. The Sauk and Meskwaki did not fare well in Des Moines. The illegal whiskey trade, combined with the destruction of traditional lifeways, led to severe problems for their society. One newspaper reported, "It is a fact that the location of Fort Des Moines among the Sac and Fox Indians, under its present commander, for the last 2 years had corrupted them more and lowered them deeper in the scale of vice and degradation than all their intercourse with the whites for the 10 years previous." After official removal, the Meskwaki continued to return to Des Moines until around 1857. Archaeological excavations have shown that many fort-related features survived under what is now Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway and 1st Street. Soldiers stationed at Fort Des Moines opened the first coal mines in the area, mining coal from the river bank for the fort's blacksmith. Settlers occupied the abandoned fort and nearby areas. On May 25, 1846, the state legislature designated Fort Des Moines as the seat of Polk County. Rosina Perkins, a school teacher who spent the winter of 1851 in the town of Fort Des Moines, was not favorably impressed. "This is one of the strangest-looking cities I ever saw. This town is at the juncture of the Des Moines and Raccoon rivers. It is mostly a level prairie with a few swells or hills around it. We have a courthouse of brick and one church, a plain, framed building belonging to the Methodists. There are 2 taverns here, one of which has a most important little bell that rings together some 50 boarders. I cannot tell you how many dwellings there are, for I have not counted them. Some are of logs, some of brick, some framed, and some are the remains of the old dragoon houses. The people support 2 papers and there are several dry goods shops. I have been into but 4 of them. Society is as varied as the buildings are. There are people from nearly every state, and Dutch, Swedes, etc. In May 1851, much of the town was destroyed during the flood of 1851. The Des Moines and Raccoon rivers rose to an unprecedented height, inundating the entire country east of the Des Moines River. Crops were utterly destroyed, houses and fences swept away. The city started to rebuild from scratch. On September 22, 1851, Des Moines was incorporated as a city. The charter was approved by voters on October 18. In 1857, the name Fort Des Moines was shortened to Des Moines, and it was designated as the second state capital, previously at Iowa City. Growth was slow during the Civil War period, but the city exploded in size and importance after a railroad link was completed in 1866. In 1864, the Des Moines Coal Company was organized to begin the first systematic mining in the region. Its first mine, north of town on the river's west side, was exhausted by 1873. The Black Diamond Mine, near the south end of the West 7th Street Bridge, sank a 150-foot 46 meters mine shaft to reach a 5-foot, thick 1.5 meters, coal bed. By 1876, this mine employed 150 men, and shipped 20 carloads of coal per day. By 1885, numerous mine shafts were within the city limits, and mining began to spread into the surrounding countryside. By 1893, 23 mines were in the region. By 1908, Des Moines coal resources were largely exhausted. In 1912, Des Moines still had 8 locals of the United Mine Workers Union, representing 1,410 miners. This was about 1.7% of the city's population in 1910. By 1880, Des Moines had a population of 22,408, making it Iowa's largest city. It displaced the 3 Mississippi River ports, Burlington, Dubuque, and Davenport, that had alternated holding the position since the territorial period. Des Moines has remained Iowa's most populous city. In 1910, the Census Bureau reported Des Moines population as 97.3% white and 2.7% black, reflecting its early settlement pattern, primarily by ethnic Europeans. At the turn of the 20th century, encouraged by the Civic Committee of the Des Moines Women's Club, Des Moines undertook a City Beautiful project in which large Beaux-Arts public buildings and fountains were constructed along the Des Moines River. The former Des Moines Public Library building, now the home of the World Food Prize, the United States Central Post Office, built by the federal government, now the Polk County Administrative Building, with a newer addition, and the City Hall are surviving examples of the 1,900 to 1,910 buildings. They form the Civic Center Historic District. The ornate riverfront balustrades that line the Des Moines and Raccoon rivers were built by the Federal Civilian Conservation Corps in the mid-1930s, during the Great Depression under Democratic President Franklin D. Roosevelt, as a project to provide local employment and improve infrastructure. The ornamental fountains that stood along the riverbank were buried in the 1950s, when the city began a post-industrial decline that lasted until the late 1980s. The city has since rebounded, transforming from a blue-collar, industrial city to a white-collar professional city. That form of government was scrapped in 1950 in favor of a council-manager government, with the council members elected at large. In 1967, the city changed its government to elect 4 of the 7 city council members from single-member districts or wards, rather than at large. This enabled a broader representation of voters. As with many major urban areas, the city core began losing population to the suburbs in the 1960s. The peak population of 208,982 was recorded in 1960, as highway construction led to new residential construction outside the city. The population was 198,682 in 2000 and grew slightly to 200,538 in 2009. The growth of the outlying suburbs has continued, and the overall metropolitan area population is over 700,000 today. During the Great Flood of 1993, heavy rains throughout June and early July caused the Des Moines and Raccoon rivers to rise above flood stage levels. The Des Moines Water Works was submerged by floodwaters during the early morning hours of July 11, 1993, leaving an estimated 250,000 people without running water for 12 days and without drinking water for 20 days. Des Moines suffered major flooding again in June 2008 with a major levee breach. The Des Moines River is controlled upstream by Saylorville Reservoir. In both 1993 and 2008, the flooding river overtopped the reservoir spillway. Today, Des Moines is a member of ICLEI Local Governments for Sustainability USA. Through ICLEI, Des Moines has implemented the Tomorrow Plan, a regional plan focused on developing central Iowa in a sustainable fashion, centrally planned growth, and resource consumption to manage the local population. The skyline of Des Moines changed in the 1970s and the 1980s, when several new skyscrapers were built. Additional skyscrapers were built in the 1990s, including Iowa's tallest. Before then, the 19-story Equitable Building, from 1924, was the tallest building in the city and the tallest building in Iowa. The 25-story Financial Center was completed in 1973 and the 36-story Rouen Center was completed in 1974. They were later joined by the 33-story Des Moines Marriott Hotel 1981, the 25-story Hub Tower and 25-story Plaza Building 1985. Iowa's tallest building, Principal Financial Group's 45-story tower at 801 Grand was built in 1991, and the 19-story EMC Insurance Building was erected in 1997. During this time period, the Civic Center of Greater Des Moines 1979 was developed. It hosts Broadway shows and special events. Also constructed were the Greater Des Moines Botanical Garden 1979, a large city botanical garden, greenhouse on the east side of the river, the Polk County Convention Complex 1985, and the State of Iowa Historical Museum 1987. The Des Moines Skywalk also began to take shape during the 1980s. The Skywalk system is 4 miles 6.4 kilometers long and connects many downtown buildings. In the early 21st century, the city has had more major construction in the downtown area. The new Science Center of Iowa and IMAX Dome Theater and the Iowa Events Center opened in 2005. The new central branch of the Des Moines Public Library, designed by renowned architect David Chipperfield of London, opened on April 8, 2006. The World Food Prize Foundation, which is based in Des Moines, completed adaptation and restoration of the former Des Moines Public Library building in October 2011. The former library now serves as the home and headquarters of the Norman Borlaug World Food Prize Hall of Laureates. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city has an area of 90.65 square miles 234.78 kilometers to, of which 88.93 square miles 230.33 kilometers to is land and 1.73 square miles 4.48 kilometers to is covered by water. It is 850 feet 260 meters above sea level at the confluence of the Raccoon and Des Moines rivers. In November 2005, Des Moines voters approved a measure that allowed the city to annex parcels of land in the northeast, southeast, and southern corners of Des Moines without agreement by local residents, particularly areas bordering the Iowa Highway 5/US 65 bypass. The annexations became official on June 26, 2009 as 5,174 acres, 20.94 kilometers to, and around 868 new residents were added to the city of Des Moines. An additional 759 acres, 3.07 kilometers to, were voluntarily annexed to the city over that same period. At the center of North America and far removed from large bodies of water, the Des Moines area has a hot summer, type humid continental climate, COP&DFA, with warm to hot, humid summers and cold, dry winters. Summer temperatures can often climb into the 90 degrees Fahrenheit 32 degrees Celsius range, occasionally reaching 100 degrees Fahrenheit 38 degrees Celsius. Humidity can be high in spring and summer, with frequent afternoon thunderstorms. Fall brings pleasant temperatures and colorful fall foliage. Winters vary from moderately cold to bitterly cold, with low temperatures venturing below 0 degrees Fahrenheit minus 18 degrees Celsius, quite often. Snowfall averages 36.5 inches 93 centimeters per season, and annual precipitation averages 36.55 inches 928 millimeters, with a peak in the warmer months. Winters are slightly colder than Chicago, but still warmer than Minneapolis, with summer temperatures being very similar between the upper Midwest metropolitan areas. As of the census of 2020, the population was 214,133. The population density was 2,428.4 inhabitants per square mile, 937.6 per square kilometer. There were 95,082 housing units at an average density of 1,078.3 per square mile, 416.3 per square kilometer. Ethnically, the population was 15.6% Hispanic, or Latino of any race. When grouping both Hispanic and non-Hispanic people together by race, the city was 64.5% white, 11.7% Black or African American, 6.8% Asian, 0.7% Native American, 0.1% Pacific Islander, 6.6% from other races, and 9.6% from two or more races. The 2020 census population of the city included 252 people incarcerated in adult correctional facilities and 2,378 people in student housing. According to the American Community Survey estimates for 2016 to 2020, the median income for a household in the city was $54,843, and the median income for a family was $66,420. Male full-time workers had a median income of $47,048 versus $40,290 for female workers. The per capita income for the city was $29,064. About 12.1% of families and 16.0% of the population were below the poverty line, including 24.3% of those under age 18 and 9.8% of those age 65 or over. Of the population aged 25 and over, 86.7% were high school graduates or higher, and 27.9% had a bachelor's degree or higher. Many insurance companies are headquartered in Des Moines, including the Principal Financial Group, EMC Insurance Group, Fidelity and Guarantee Life, Allied Insurance, Gideon Insurance, Walmart Blue Cross Blue Shield of Iowa, FBL Financial Group, and American Republic Insurance Company. Iowa has one of the lowest insurance premium taxes in the nation at 1%. And doesn't charge any premium taxes on qualified life insurance plans, making the state attractive to insurance business. Des Moines has been referred to as the Hartford of the West, an insurance capital, because of this. The Principal is one of two Fortune 500 companies with headquarters in Iowa. The other being Casey's General Stores, ranking 201st on the magazine's list in 2020 59. As a center of financial and insurance services, other major corporations headquartered outside of Iowa have a presence in the Des Moines metro area, including Wells Fargo, Voya Financial, and Electronic Data Systems, EDS. The Meredith Corporation, a leading publishing and marketing company, was also based in Des Moines prior to its acquisition by IAC and merger with Dash in 2021. Meredith published Better Homes and Gardens, one of the most widely circulated publications in the United States. Des Moines was also the headquarters of Golf Digest magazine. Other major employers in Des Moines include Unity Point Health, Mercy Medical Center, Mid-American Energy Company, CDS Global, UPS, Firestone Agricultural Tire Company, EDS, Drake University, Titan Tire, the Des Moines Register, Anderson Erickson, DZ, and EMCO. In 2017, Kemin Industries opened a state-of-the-art worldwide headquarters building in Des Moines. The city of Des Moines is a cultural center for Iowa and home to several art and history museums and performing arts groups. The Des Moines Performing Arts routinely hosts touring Broadway shows and other live professional theater. Its president and CEO, Jeff Chelsvig, is a member of the League of American Theaters and Producers Incorporated. the Temple for Performing Arts and Des Moines Playhouse are other venues for live theater, comedy, and performance arts. The Des Moines Metro Opera has been a cultural resource in Des Moines since 1973. The opera offers educational and outreach programs and is one of the largest performing arts organizations in the state. Ballet Des Moines was established in 2002. Performing 3 productions each year, the ballet also provides opportunities for education and outreach. The Des Moines Symphony performs frequently at different venues. In addition to performing 7 pairs of classical concerts each season, the Symphony also entertains with New Year's Eve Pops and its annual Yankee Doodle Pops concerts. The Metro Arts Alliance produces Jazz in July every year that offers free jazz shows daily at various venues throughout the city during the entire month of July. Wells Fargo Arena is the Des Moines area's primary venue for sporting events and concerts since its opening in 2005. Named for title sponsor Wells Fargo Financial Services, Wells Fargo Arena holds 16,980 and books large, national touring acts for arena concert performances, while several smaller venues host local, regional, and national bands. It is the home of the Iowa Wolves of the NBA G League, the Iowa Wild of the American Hockey League, and the Iowa Barnstormers of the Indoor Football League. The Simon Estes Riverfront Amphitheater is an outdoor concert venue on the east bank of the Des Moines River, which hosts music events, such as the Alive Concert Series. The Des Moines Arts Center, with a wing designed by architect I.M. Hay, presents art exhibitions and educational programs, as well as studio art classes. The center houses a collection of artwork from the 19th century to the present. An extension of the Art Center is downtown in an urban museum space, featuring 3 or 4 exhibitions each year. The Papa John Sculpture Park was established in 2009. It showcases a collection of 24 sculptures donated by Des Moines philanthropists John and Mary Papa John. Nearby is the Temple for Performing Arts, a cultural center for the city. Next to the temple is the 117,000 square foot 10,900 meters 2 Central Library, designed by renowned English architect David Chipperfield. Sal's House and Gardens is a 42-room historic house museum on 10 acres 4 hectares of woodlands in the south of Grand neighborhood of Des Moines. It is named after and loosely inspired by King's House in Sal's, England. Built in the 1920s by cosmetics magnate Carl Weeks and his wife, Edith. The Sal's House contains authentic 16th-century English oak and rafters dating to Shakespeare's days. Numerous other architectural features repurposed from other historic English homes and an internationally significant collection of original fine art, tapestries, decorative art, furniture, musical instruments, and rare books and documents. The Sal's House is listed on the National Register of Historic Places and has been featured on A&E's America's Castles and PBS's Antiques Roadshow. Prominent artists in the Sal's House collection include Joseph Stella, Lillian Jenth, Anthony Van Dyck and Lawrence Alma Tadema. Built in 1877 by prominent pioneer businessman Hoyt Sherman Place Mansion was Des Moines' first public art gallery and houses a distinctive collection of 19th and 20th century artwork. Its restored 1,250-seat theater features an intricate Rococo plaster, ceiling, and excellent acoustics, and is used for a variety of cultural performances and entertainment. Arising in the east and facing westward toward downtown, the Iowa State Capitol building with its 275-foot, 84 meters, 23-karat gold leaf dome towering above the city is a favorite of sightseers. 4 smaller domes flank the main dome. The Capitol houses the governor's offices, legislature, and the old Supreme Court chambers. The ornate interior also features a grand staircase, mural westward, 5-story law library, scale model of the USS Iowa, and collection of First Lady dolls. Guided tours are available. The Capitol grounds include a World War II memorial with sculpture and Wall of Memories, the 1,894 soldiers and sailors monument of the Civil War and memorials honoring those who served in the Spanish-American, Korean, and Vietnam Wars. The West Capitol Terrace provides the entrance from the west to the state's grandest building, the State Capitol Building. The 10-acre 4-hectare People's Park, at the foot of the Capitol complex, includes a promenade and landscaped gardens, in addition to providing public space for rallies and special events. A granite map of Iowa depicting all 99 counties rests at the base of the terrace and has become an attraction for in-state visitors, many of whom walk over the map to find their home county. Iowa's history lives on in the State of Iowa Historical Museum. This modern granite and glass structure at the foot of the state capitol building houses permanent and temporary exhibits exploring the people, places, events, and issues of Iowa's past. The showcase includes native wildlife, American Indian and pioneer artifacts, and political and military items. The museum features a genealogy and Iowa history library, museum gift shop, and cafe. Terrace Hill, a National Historic Landmark and Iowa Governor's Residence, is among the best examples of American Victorian Second Empire architecture. This opulent 1869 home was built by Iowa's first millionaire, Benjamin F. Allen, and restored to the late 19th century period. It overlooks downtown Des Moines and is situated on 8 acres (3.2 hectare), with a recreated Victorian formal garden. Tours are conducted Tuesdays through Saturdays from March through December. The 110,000 square foot 10,000 meters II Science Center of Iowa and IMAX Dome Theater offers 7 interactive learning areas, live programs, and hands-on activities encouraging learning and fun for all ages. Among its 3 theaters include the 216-seat IMAX Dome Theater, 175-seat John Deere Adventure Theater featuring live performances, and a 50-foot 15 meters Dome Star Theater. The Greater Des Moines Botanical Garden, an indoor conservatory of over 15,000 exotic plants, is one of the largest collections of tropical, subtropical, and desert-growing plants in the Midwest. The center blooms with thousands of flowers year-round. Nearby are the Robert D. Ray Asian Gardens and Pavilion, named in honor of the former governor whose influence helped relocate thousands of Vietnamese refugees to Iowa homes in the 1970s and 1980s. Developed by the city's Asian community, the gardens include a 3-story Chinese pavilion, bonsai landscaping, and granite sculptures to highlight the importance of diversity and recognize Asian American contributions in Iowa. Blank Park Zoo is a landscaped 22-acre (8.9 hectare) zoological park on the south side. Among the exhibits include a tropical rainforest, Australian outback, and Africa. The zoo offers education classes, tours, and rental facilities. The Iowa Primate Learning Sanctuary was established as a scientific research facility with a 230-acre, 93-hectare campus housing bonobos and orangutans for the non-invasive interdisciplinary study of their cognitive and communicative capabilities. The East Village, on the east side of the Des Moines River, begins at the river and extends about 5 blocks east to the state capitol building, offering an eclectic blend of historic buildings, hip eateries, boutiques, art galleries, and a wide variety of other retail establishments mixed with residences. Adventureland Park is an amusement park in neighboring Altoona, just northeast of Des Moines. The park boasts more than 100 rides, shows, and attractions, including 6 roller coasters. A hotel and campground is just outside the park. Also in Altoona is Prairie Meadows Racetrack and Casino, an entertainment venue for gambling and horse racing. Open 24 hours a day, year-round, the racetrack and casino features live racing, plus over 1,750 slot machines, table games, and concert and show entertainment. The racetrack hosts 2 Grade 3 races annually, the Iowa Oaks and the Cornhusker Handicap. Living History Farms in suburban Urbandale tells the story of Midwestern agriculture and rural life in a 500-acre 2.0 kilometers open-air museum with interpreters dressed in period costume who recreate the daily routines of early Iowans. Open daily from May through October, the Living History Farms include a 1,700 Iowa Indian Village, 1,850 Pioneer Farm, 1,875 Frontier Town, 1,900 horse-powered farm, and a modern crop center. Wallace House was the home of the first Henry Wallace, a national leader in agriculture and conservation and the first editor of Wallace's Farmer Farm Journal. This restored 1,883 Italianate Victorian houses exhibits, artifacts, and information covering 4 generations of Henry Wallace's and other family members. Historic Jordan House in West Des Moines is a stately Victorian home built in 1850 and added to in 1870 by the first white settler in West Des Moines, James C. Jordan. Completely refurbished, this mansion was part of the Underground Railroad and today houses 16 period rooms, a railroad museum, West Des Moines community history, and a museum dedicated to the Underground Railroad in Iowa. In 1893, Jordan's daughter Ida was sliding down the banister when she fell off and broke her neck. She died 2 days later, and her ghost is reputed to haunt the house. The Chicago Tribune wrote that Iowa's capital city has walker-friendly downtown streets and enough outdoor sculpture, sleek buildings, storefronts and cafes to delight the most jaded stroller. Des Moines plays host to a growing number of nationally acclaimed cultural events, including the annual Des Moines Arts Festival in June, Metro Arts Jazz in July, Iowa State Fair in August, and the World Food and Music Festival in September. On Saturdays from May through October, the Downtown Farmers Market draws visitors from across the state. Local parades include St. Patrick's Day Parade, Drake Relays Parade, Capital City Pride Parade, Iowa State Fair Parade, Labor Day Parade, and Beaverdale Fall Festival Parade. Other annual festivals and events include Des Moines Beer Week, 35th Music Festival, 515 Alive Music Festival, ArtFest Midwest, Blue Ribbon Bacon Fest 67 Celebration Heritage Festival, Des Moines Pride Festival, Des Moines Renaissance Fair, Festa Italiana, Festival of Trees and Lights, World Food and Music Festival, I'll Make Me a World Iowa, Latino Heritage Festival, Oktoberfest, Winefest Imaginev, Iowa's premier beer, wine and food show, and Wild Rose Film Festival. Des Moines operates under a council-manager form of government. The council consists of a mayor, Frank County, and is elected in citywide vote, 2 at-large members, and 4 members representing each of the city's 4 wards. In 2014, Jonathan Gano was appointed as the new Public Works Director. In 2015, Dana Wingard was appointed as Police Chief. In 2018, Stephen L. Neighbor was appointed as the new City Engineer. Des Moines has an extensive skywalk system within its downtown core. With over 4 miles of enclosed walkway, it is one of the largest of such systems in the United States. The Des Moines Skywalk system has been criticized for hurting street-level business, though a recent initiative has been made to make street-level skywalk entrances more visible. Interstate 235 I-235 cuts through the city, and I-35 and I-80 both pass through the Des Moines metropolitan area as well as the city of Des Moines. On the northern side of the city of Des Moines and passing through the cities of Altoona, Clive, Johnston, Urbandale and West Des Moines, I-35 and I-80 converge into a long concurrency while I-235 takes a direct route through Des Moines, Windsor Heights, and West Des Moines before meeting up with I-35 and I-80 on the western edge of the metro. The Des Moines bypass passes south and east of the city. Other routes in and around the city include US 6, US 69, Iowa 28, Iowa 141, Iowa 163, Iowa 330, Iowa 415, and Iowa 160. Des Moines' public transit system, operated by DART, Des Moines Area Regional Transit, which was the Des Moines Metropolitan Transit Authority until October 2006, consists entirely of buses, including regular and city routes and express and commuter buses to outlying suburban areas. Characteristics of household ownership of cars in Des Moines are similar to national averages. In 2015, 8.5% of Des Moines households lacked a car, and increased to 9.6% in 2016. The national average was 8.7% in 2016. Des Moines averaged 1.71 cars per household in 2016, compared to a national average of 1.8. Burlington Trailways and Jefferson Lines run long-distance, intercity bus routes through Des Moines. The bus station is located north of downtown. Although Des Moines was historically a train hub, it does not have passenger train service. For east-west traffic, it was served at the Rock Island Depot by the Corn Belt Rocket Express from Omaha to the west, to Chicago in the east. The Rock Island also offered the Rocky Mountain Rocket from Colorado Springs in the west, to Chicago, and the Twin Star Rocket to Minneapolis to the north and Dallas and Houston to the south. The last train was an unnamed service ending at Council Bluffs, and it was discontinued on May 31, 1970. Today, this line constitutes the main line of the Iowa Interstate Railroad. Other railroads use the East Des Moines Union Station. Northward and northwest bound, there were Chicago and Northwestern trains to destinations including Minneapolis. The Wabash Railroad ran service to the southeast to St. Louis. These lines remain in use, but are now operated by Union Pacific and BNSF. The nearest Amtrak station is in Osceola, about 40 miles 64 kilometers south of Des Moines. The Osceola station is served by the Chicago-San Francisco, California Zephyr. There is no Osceola-Des Moines Amtrak Thruway motorcoach connecting service. There have been proposals to extend Amtrak's planned Chicago-Moline Quad City Rocket to Des Moines via the Iowa Interstate Railroad. The Des Moines International Airport, DISM, on Fleur Drive in the southern part of Des Moines, offers nonstop service to destinations within the United States. The only international service is cargo service, but there have been discussions about adding an international terminal. The Des Moines Public Schools District is the largest community school district in Iowa with 32,062 enrolled students as of the 2012 to 2013 school year. The district consists of 63 schools, 38 elementary schools, 11 middle schools, 5 high schools, East, Hoover, Lincoln, North, and Roosevelt, and 10 special schools and programs. Small parts of the city are instead served by Carlisle Community Schools, Johnston Community School District, 82, the Southeast Polk Community School District, 83, and the Sadell School District. 84 Grandview Christian School is the only private school in the city, although Des Moines Christian School, in Des Moines from 1947 to 2006, in Urbandale, Dowling Catholic High School in West Des Moines, and Ankeny Christian Academy on the north side of the metro area serve some city residents. Des Moines is also home to the main campuses of 3 four-year private colleges, Drake University, Grandview University, and Mercy College of Health Sciences. The University of Iowa has a satellite facility in the city's Western Gateway Park, while Iowa State University hosts Master of Business Administration classes downtown. Simpson College, Upper Iowa University, William Penn University, and Purdue University Global. Des Moines Area Community College is the area's community college, with campuses in Ankeny, Des Moines, and West Des Moines. The city is also home to Des Moines University, an osteopathic medical school. Des Moines hosts professional minor league teams in several sports: baseball, basketball, hockey, indoor football, and soccer, and is home to the sports teams of Drake University, which play in NCAA Division I. The Des Moines Menace Soccer Club, a member of USL League Two, play their home games at Valley Stadium in West Des Moines. Des Moines is home to the Iowa Cubs baseball team of the AAA East. The I-Cubs, which are the AAA affiliate of the Major League Chicago Cubs, play their home games at Principal Park near the confluence of the Des Moines and Raccoon Rivers. Wells Fargo Arena of the Iowa Events Center is home to the Iowa Barnstormers of the Indoor Football League, the Iowa Wild of the American Hockey League, and the Iowa Wolves of the NBA G League. The Barnstormers relaunched as an AF2 club in 2008 before joining a relaunched Arena Football League in 2010 and the Indoor Football League in 2015. The Barnstormers had previously played in the Arena Football League from 1994 to 2000, featuring future NFL Hall of Famer and Super Bowl MVP quarterback Kurt Warner, before relocating to New York. The Iowa Energy, a D-League team, began play in 2007. They were bought by the Minnesota Timberwolves in 2017 and were renamed the Iowa Wolves to reflect the new ownership. The Wild, the affiliate of the National Hockey League's Minnesota Wild, have played at Wells Fargo Arena since 2013. Previously, the Iowa Chops played 4 seasons in Des Moines, known as the Iowa Stars for 3 of those seasons. Additionally, the Des Moines Buccaneers of the United States Hockey League play at Buccaneer Arena in suburban Urbandale. Des Moines is also home to the Drake University Bulldogs, an NCAA Division I member of the Missouri Valley Conference, primarily playing northwest of downtown at the on-campus Drake Stadium and Knapp Center. Drake Stadium is home to the famed Drake Relays each April. In addition to the Drake Relays, Drake Stadium has hosted multiple NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships and USA Outdoor Track and Field Championships. The Vikings of Grandview University also compete in intercollegiate athletics in Des Moines. A member of the Heart of America Athletic Conference, within the NAIA, they field 21 varsity athletic teams. They were NAIA national champions in football in 2013. The Principal Charity Classic, a Champions Tour golf event, is held at Wakanda Club in late May or early June. The IMP Des Moines Marathon is held throughout the city each October. Des Moines has 76 city parks and 3 golf courses, as well as 3 family aquatic centers, 5 community centers, and 3 swimming pools. The city has 45 miles 72 kilometers of trails. The first major park was Greenwood Park. The park commissioners purchased the land on April 21, 1894. The Principal Riverwalk is a riverwalk park district being constructed along the banks of the Des Moines River in the downtown. Primarily funded by the Principal Financial Group, the Riverwalk is a multi-year, jointly funded project also funded by the city and state. Upon completion, it will feature a 1.2-mile (1.9 kilometers) recreational trail connecting the east and west sides of downtown via 2 pedestrian bridges. A landscaped promenade along the street level is planned. The Riverwalk includes the downtown Brenton Skating Plaza, open from November through March. Grays Lake, part of the 167-acre 68-hectare of Grays Lake Park, features a boat rental facility, fishing pier, floating boardwalks, and a park resource center. Located just south of the downtown, the centerpiece of the park is a lighted 1.9-mile (3.1 kilometers) croutonnier trail encircling it entirely. From downtown Des Moines primarily along the east bank of the Des Moines River. The Neil Smith and John Pat Dorian trails are 28.2-mile (45.4 kilometers) paved recreational trails that connect Grays Lake northward to the east shore of Saylorville Lake, Big Creek State Park, and the recreational trails of Ankeny, including the High Trestle Trail. These trails are near several recreational facilities including the Pete Crivero Park, Principal Park, the Principal Riverwalk, the Greater Des Moines Botanical Garden, Union Park and its Heritage Carousel of Des Moines, Birdland Park and the Birdland Marina Boat Tramp on the Des Moines River, Riverview Park, McHenry Park, and River Drive Park 100. Although outside of Des Moines, Jester Park has 1,834 acres 742 hectare of land along the western shore of Saylorville Lake and can be reached from the Neil Smith Trail over the Saylorville Dam. Just west of Grays Lake are the 1,500 acres 607 hectare of the Des Moines Waterworks Park. The Waterworks Park is along the banks of the Raccoon River, immediately upstream from where the Raccoon River empties into the Des Moines River. The Des Moines Waterworks facility, which obtains the city's drinking water from the Raccoon River, is entirely within the Waterworks Park. A bridge in the park crosses the Raccoon River. The Waterworks Park recreational trails link to downtown Des Moines by traveling past Grays Lake and back across the Raccoon River via either along the Meredith Trail near Principal Park or along the Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway. The Waterworks Park trails connect westward to Valley Junction and the recreational trails of the western suburbs, Windsor Heights, Urbandale, Clive, and Waukee. Also originating from Waterworks Park, the Great Western Trail is an 18-mile (29 kilometers) journey southward from Des Moines to Martinsdale through the Willow Creek Golf Course, Orilla, and Cumming. Often the location for summer music festivals and concerts, Waterworks Park was the overnight campground for thousands of bicyclists on Tuesday, July 23, 2013, during Ragbraze Lie.
you.